Hello everyone and welcome to Quinntopia. I would say good morning or good afternoon or whatever, but I'm not sure what it is while you're viewing this, so I'll just say hello. Today we will be taking a look at the product from Liliput in N scale, the FLIRT. And I actually have not yet even opened this, so you'll be seeing this thing for the first time out of its box along with me. So without further ado, let's open it up. Just show you the end of the box real quickly. It's called an MU 11000 ET6.04, commonly referred to as the FLIRT, and I got it in the Eurobahn Rhine-Ruhr Express or RRX livery, which I saw online, never saw in person, but thought it looked great with the dark gray and the orange, and thought that's the one for me. So let's go ahead and open this up for the first time, and I'll attempt to ensure that I keep things in line of sight. It'll be interesting because one of the things I've read about this train on the internet is that installing a decoder is a little bit different. Oh, look, there's a warning, there's a little package, so let's set the box aside there and see what we got here. So here we got the train sealed in this cellophane packaging. And it says Achtung, but we'll skip down to the English. It says, lift the rail car straight up with both hands using the foil. Do not bend. Okay, so that's probably very important. We'll pay attention to that. Set that down for a minute. Looks like our packet of information. Real quickly, Liliput. And what I think is great about this train is not only that nobody's made it before, and it's in a new cool livery, and it's a great looking train, by the way, but it's Liliput, or really Bachmann's first entry into, I guess, continental N scale, which is pretty darn neat. Bachmann produces the Graham Farish line in the UK. They do a ton of stuff in the US. So this is the first time they've done something, as far as I know, or I'm aware, in the N gauge range. So kind of an encouraging sign there for us N gauge people. This is sealed with a little bit of tape. I'll just undo that. Well, I don't think I need to get it out right now, but I want to get tape on the manual itself. So let's see what we got here. We have a list of spare parts, good to have. A booklet, which looks like our operating manual, covering, looks like covering how to remove it. And again, I think that it's very important. They want us to remove it in one piece. There's an on-off button, it looks like, for something. I'll have to read the English version to figure that out. So the first part's in German. Looks like the instructions are only... Oh no, there's French right there. So you got French, German, and English. And that looks like about it. So, yeah, I only see French, German, and English language here. So let's set this aside. Let's see if I can get this thing out of its packaging. Now I'm a little nervous because I got the video camera going and there's this warning here, so let's see how it goes. So first of all, I'm going to put a little bit of tape here. See, I told you I've never opened this up before, so I don't think I need that tape anymore. And not surprisingly, there's going to be a lot of tape on this. I'm going to pause the camera while I do this, and we'll catch up after I've got this tape removed. Alright, the 6 pieces of tape holding the cellophane pieces together have been removed. Oh, there's actually 8 because I just noticed there's a piece on each side as well. So let me go ahead and get those off really quickly. Sorry about that. And let's go ahead and take the top sheet off. On there a little snugly, not too bad. Set that aside. Here it is. These are the pieces they want us to lift this thing out with, so I will very carefully try to do it without obstructing your view. Oh, it's very light, not too snugly in there. There we go. Okay, wow, looking pretty cool. I'm going to take this, slide this out from under it, set it back in its box, and there it is. I'm going to reposition the camera because I don't think you can see it very well from the distance that I have. You'll notice, of course, that it comes as one unit set. It's not like you're going to be coupling anything together. Apparently from the instructions they do come apart, but Bachmann or Liliput don't want you to do that. So let's readjust this camera a little bit and get you a little bit closer to the action. Okay, I've readjusted the camera, give you a little bit of a closer view of what we got here. And all I can say is first impressions are wow, it looks fantastic. I'm really excited to see this thing run. So let's pan back to the front of the train. Yeah, just incredible. It's really, I guess it's a dark gray. Could almost be a dark blue. It's hard to tell. Zoom in there a little bit on the logo, get you a close-up view of how great, whoop, yeah, that's the limit. How great this thing looks. It's just really, really awesome looking. And you can tell the printing looks really sharp. And the roof detail, that's something I wasn't aware of. I really like apparently the warning stripes, the yellow warning stripes on top look really fantastic. And there's the cab. And apparently, again, this is a bit unusual. With this train, you're going to be putting the decoder in the cab. I'm going to take a brief moment and look at the instructions, and then I'll join you as soon as I figure out how to do it. So we're back. I know I just said I was going to look at the manual to see how to install the decoder, but as I started to do that, I realized I was skipping over an important step, at least an important step that people say you should do, which is run in your brand new locomotives for about 30 minutes before doing anything to them. So I'm going to do that right now, and I've got it set up on my 282mm Kato Unitrack test track. It's just a simple oval hooked up to a traditional transformer. So I'm going to flip it on right now. We're going to take a look at it starting up for the first time in DC, analog, conventional mode, whatever you want to call it, and see what happens. So I'm going to give it a little bit of voltage. Oh, there we go. I got nervous there for a second because it wasn't moving. Wow, that's smooth. Very nice. Have it, I'm going to turn it up a little bit more. Wow, that's nice. And it does okay on. I was a little bit concerned that it might not navigate these tiny radius curves. I don't have this tight of a radius on my layout. I mean, one of the reasons I had this track handy to use it for a run-in track, a DC only track, is because I don't have the small radius on my layout, but you run into a problem with train sets that maybe can't navigate it. But there you go, it navigates a pretty narrow radius. I'm going to give it a little bit more speed so we get all those gears and motor parts warm and working, and you start to see a little bit of the indications of the lights coming on. And we'll let it run around this oval for 30 minutes. I, of course, will not be videotaping the entire 30 minutes of this train running around the oval because that would be boring as anything. We'll be back after the run-ins. Okay, time for the decoder installation. So you'll notice by this illustration in the product manual that you need to turn one of the motor cars or one of the end cars upside down. Don't know which one. It says car A, but I don't know which one that is. Maybe it says somewhere and I just have missed it. Pull out a screw, then remove the cab. But I should read this. The first sentence in the manual is, it would make sense for your dealer or service workshop to install the decoder, but we have provided instructions for anyone to do it him or herself. Well, that's really, that doesn't build a whole lot of confidence if they're telling you that the decoder should be installed by the dealer, but maybe they're just protecting themselves. So I don't see an A marking anywhere on here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the screw off here on this side, and we'll see if this one is actually where the decoder goes. And I have too big of a screwdriver, so stand. Okay, now prepared with the right type of screwdriver, I'm going to attempt to take it off and see how easy it is to remove this cab. So here we go, coming out. Remove that, set that aside. Now it says, after you remove the screw, makes sense to remove the housing unit A from the chassis by loosening the screw and pulling the head out. Then you can clip out the housing by spreading Y and lifting off Z. I'm not really sure what they are. I kind of see it. Let's see how this goes. I felt something move. I feel moving. Not sure if you can see that real well, but it's starting to move. Feels like it's caught on the top. And there's these rear view windows here that make me nervous.
when the work is behind you and the shop and the store put the lock on the door. Just get away where your worries won't find
Really,
you.
it was flipping it around on the top for some reason seemed to have relieved pressure, and just really gentle tug and it came right off, no problem. And you can kind of see why the little clips here, I think, might have just the gravity of having it upside down made it difficult to come off. So it might be a good idea to flip it over on its wheels after you remove the screw. There's this little blue thing here that wants to come off. I'm not sure what that is, a gasket or something. Just, I don't know, we'll leave that alone. Somewhere in there is a decoder slot, although it looks like we need to remove the body shell, but I don't know if that's right. Check the internet to make sure I'm doing this correctly, and you do have to remove the shell here. I'm going to use a little strip of styrene, slip it in there, kind of aid in the process.
Every day when the work is behind you and the shop and the store put the lock on the door. Just get away where your worries won't find you. If you like, well, I'll tell you more. Don't let the day get the better of you. When the evening comes, there's so much to do. You better put on your best and wear a smile. Just come along with me a while, 'cause I tell you, I know a place.
Okay, so after all that effort and all that work, I finally got everything removed, only to find out this is not the side with the decoder on it. So I need to remove the other end. So I'll be right back and put this back together and go through the same process on the other end of the train. Well, there we are. I've repeated the process on the opposite end, and here we have the shell off the chassis, and as you can tell, here is the default plug decoder. I'm now going to remove it, and hopefully this won't present any strange problems. I'm going to try it first with my fingers, see if it'll wiggle out before I have to use any tools. Yeah, there it comes. So that's out. Put that in a nice safe place. Get out my decoder. I'll be using a TCS, well, EUN651 decoder. There it is. So I'm going to cut this out of its package. There's the decoder. I've started using these. I think they're relatively new from TCS, and I've so far found them to be really nice. I have yet to have a problem with one. So let's see if I can figure out what the right orientation is. Looks like 1 is on the top, 8 or 6 is on the bottom. There's actually 8 pins there. You don't use the 2 outer ones according to the instructions. You just use the 6 center ones. Now on the TCS decoder, this is pin 1 and this is pin 6, I believe, if I'm reading the diagram correctly. I'll straighten that pin out a little bit. So let's go ahead and insert it. Don't want to bend the pins, so just take a second and carefully get this thing down a little bit out of the way. Little capacitor guy there. Alright, it's seated in there. I believe it's in the center ones. I'm going to double check. And I'm just going to slightly put some pressure on it. It's going to be a little bit more pressure than that. Get a little bit better positioning on it. Wiggle it back and forth, slide it in. It seems to have stopped. And putting more pressure on it. That seems about as far as it's going to go. I'm going to actually see, now I'm going to take it away, put it on my programming track, see if I can actually see if this thing is going to be read, and we should be in business. Okay, with the decoder installed, actually with a different decoder installed, I said earlier, I believe I mentioned this, that the TCS EUN651s have so far performed relatively flawless for me. I think I've installed 6 of them and haven't had a problem, but with the last one, of course, while I'm videotaping and discussing it, it does appear to be bad, but the good news is TCS has a worry-free return policy, but I was able to cannibalize a decoder from another locomotive and inserted it and was able to successfully program it, so now we're ready to put it back together and give it a test run. So I'm going to repeat the steps that I took to take it apart. Take the shell, place it back over the body, and it's going to go just a little bit over this little diaphragm here. Just cover it a little bit, and you can see actually where the door lines up with little steps there, so you can kind of tell exactly where you're going to come down at. A little bit difficult because without the head it looks a little strange putting the chassis on without the full body being covered. So I'm going to give it a little bit of stretch. Alright, well I did finally get it back on. I actually had to move the video camera out of the way to better maneuver my hands around these different pieces. So it just took a little bit of gentle pushing and repositioning, and it was able to slide back on and snap back on. Now we put the head back on, as they call it in the instructions, which is, I guess, an appropriate name. And you can see these little snaps go right in there. At least they did on the other side. There we go, top. And a little stiff there. Let's try it again. It's a little bit stiff. The other side went in much easier. Oh, make sure this thing isn't in the way. This little blue back piece for the cab might have slipped out of position. It just holds on a couple little prongs, and I may have moved it out of position. Let's try again. There it is. Alright, I'm going to turn on its side. Now replace the little screw. And we have now a digitized RRX FLIRT. And get the screw back in there, not too tight. We don't want it to stretch. Okay, here we are with the FLIRT on the layout. Let's go ahead and power it up. Turn on the lights. Lights are on. Give it a little bit of electricity. There we go. Wow, it's quiet. Let's reverse it. I see the light change over. Oh, very nice. Doing very well at slow speeds. Of course, doesn't account for track work. But one thing I've read is that the electrical, one of the reasons this set comes in a 4-piece set that's not disconnected, and I did see it on the underside, is that each wheel actually is part of the electrical pickup. So you have electrical pickups on each wheel. So it's really, really quiet. Let's do some other, move the camera to another angle and take some other looks at it. All right, the Liliput FLIRT in N scale in the Eurobahn, I think it's the Eurobahn RRX Rhine-Ruhr Express livery. I've had this train on order for a year and a half. When it was first announced, I placed an order for it in this livery. It's been out in several other liveries for the SBB and DB for 6 months or so. It finally got this version, this special version, which I believe was done by Model Bond Union, which I can't tell you how much it looks fantastic. The detail, the printing, the colors, I just absolutely love it. It's unique looking and cool. Well, let's take a look at the report card. How did this train do? I think you can pretty much tell from my enthusiasm that this one's going to get high marks. I'm going to give it a 5 on appearance. No problem there. It looks beautiful. It's outstanding. In terms of performance, I haven't run it a lot, so I'm not really sure if it's going to hold up over the long term, but so far it's just outstanding. Really beautiful job. Conversion was a little tricky. I expected it to be a little bit easier than it was. It does have the 651 insert, so it really is, plug and play, but getting to it is a little bit of a challenge, a little tricky. So I'm going to give it a 4. It's not too difficult, you just got to be patient, but it's not that easy either. In terms of cost, outstanding pricing on this train. When you consider all the features this train has, the interior lighting, the red and white LEDs, the continuous electricity or contact throughout the whole train, the detail, it's unbelievable. You can get these between 180 euros, 215 USD, fantastic value, and really tells you what you can, what kind of quality you can get into production these days. X factor, I'm going to give it a nice rating on that. I'm going to give it I don't know why I have this on here. I'm going to remove this from now on. It's just getting silly. Overall, I'm going to give this thing a score of 19, which with a factor of 4, that's what? That's almost like, well, it's 5 goes into 24 times, so it's like a 3.9. Is that right? Seems like it should be higher. Seems like, yeah, it's not right. That's not right. Sorry about that. My math skills are a little bit bad today, but it does pretty good. Outstanding. And I would highly recommend that if you're into modern commuter or passenger equipment, particularly the European Continental EMUs. Let's hope that Liliput continues to produce more of these trains in different liveries. They're apparently all over Europe. Some exciting liveries potentially available. And let's hope they continue to expand their range and do more, because at this level of quality, at this cost, I would be really excited to see what they produce. So well done, Liliput. Well done, Bachmann. Thank you for this beautiful train. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review and enjoyed watching me stumble through my attempts to install a decoder. A little bit of trial and error each time, but thanks to some hints on the web, and I'll leave a link to something that was useful to me, I was able to finally figure it out. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Enjoy your trains, and please visit my blog, leave a comment. The blog address is quinntopia.blogspot.com. Leave a comment or subscribe, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Yeah, so apparently each wheel has its, is connected, and so you have lots of electrical contact, electrical pickup. LEDs, obviously red and white, reversing, really nice. And if you can see it there, it actually has lights in the cabin, pre-installed.